Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be showing you how I chose my new color for my watercolor plein air palette. So what I've been using so far for plein air is this small palette here. Inside are my Winsor Newton Cotman watercolors. Actually, I got all of them as a set. It was a kind of a small sketchbook plein air set something. I will link it in the description if you're interested. And I really like those, but lately I've been wanting also to buy a few professional watercolors. So the Cotman line, this line here, it's the same as my big palette that I'm using at the studio, this one here. And all those colors are student quality, which is completely fine with me. I mean, I've only used student quality watercolors except for those here. Those are White Nights watercolors. Those are supposed to be artist quality, and I must admit, I mean, those are really nice and very pigmented and everything, but I haven't felt so much of a difference between this line of Cotman and the White Nights. But I've been wanting to have tubes of watercolors for a while now, because it's a little bit more flexible and versatile. You can use them straight out of the tubes, you can mix your own palettes, you can do your own mixes, you can put them in these empty pans like that and just create your own palette. So I wanted this flexibility, and I also bought myself this. So this is the Portable Painter Micro. It's very small, you can see it just fits in my hand like that. So it's a very small palette like that, like so. And you can just, let me find where it is again. You can just put this here and put this here, and you have a very small and light palette. So I wanted to find new colors and new mixes to fill into this palette and take the advantage to get some professional quality paints. So that was my goal, and now I'm gonna take you through the different steps that I've taken to actually achieve this goal. Let me just put this back into its socket. So first I actually bought those two. So those, I don't know if you're familiar with those, but those are dot cards. Basically, if I'm showing you this one, it looks like this, and you have small dots of every color that they have in this line. So you can test them out, and you can compare them and see which color you want and everything. So I've spent I think it took me a few hours because there are quite a lot here. So I've spent a few hours doing this, and here they are, all the colors, so it's a lot, as you can see. And I've put also all the indications, so I've put the pigment, if it's single pigmented or not, if it's opaque, semi-opaque, transparent, semi-transparent, the light fastness, if it's staining or not, and then the price, because you have different categories of price, from category 1 to category, depends, maybe this one is 4 or something like that, depends on the brand. And usually 4 would be the most expensive and 1 the less expensive. So it's also interesting to have an idea that you don't choose all the 4 colors. And I wanted to have transparent watercolors because I want to rely a little bit more on very transparent washes, and I feel like for now I've been using a lot of semi-opaque or opaque colors, and I get very muddy very quickly. So I wanted to have single pigmented and transparent, mostly transparent colors that had a very good light fastness, because I want to be able to use them for final pieces that I will be framing or whatever. So those were my main criteria, and of course the price. And I wanted to have a very limited selection of colors. So I wanted to have a yellow, a red, a carmine or some, at least one blue, and some more earthy colors. So kind of having, you know, the warm and cool primaries, but twisting it a little bit more towards earthy colors because I really like earthy colors. So I just went through all of them and saw which one fit my criteria and which one did not. And I've actually selected some. Let me show you. Here they are. So let me zoom in so you can see a little bit more. So yeah, so those are the colors I chose. So it's transparent yellow, transparent ochre, helio cerulean, ultramarine, ruby red, transparent sienna, and perylene green. And I've swatched them and tried to see if the mixes were right also, to see if I could get some really nice green colors and everything. And I think it worked quite well, but I tried them on the paper that I don't like very much. I have actually received the package with the colors, so let's unbox this and see what we can find here. So here is what's inside this. So this is a sketchbook I've been wanting to try for a long while. This is a Stillman & Byrne mixed media sketchbook, the Nova series, and it's a beige paper. And I've heard very good reviews of this, and I couldn't find some, so I'm really happy that I actually found one. So this is something I'm going to be using in the future. You'll probably see this in my videos in the future. Those are some more half pans, and are the watercolors. So I've actually taken quite a few. I got a little bit carried away. Okay, so here we are. So those three are Winsor Newton professional watercolors that I wanted to try out too. And I just went with three really fun colors. And those are the colors I chose for plein air. So as you can see, it's 7 colors and I just have 6 wells here. So I don't know if I will be taking the perylene green outside or not. This is still to be decided. But otherwise I have more or less a warm and cool of each of the primaries. So let's first swatch those, shall we? So I always do my swatches on the same paper. Let me just show you here. So those were done on the same paper, and here I have all of my watercolor swatches. So those are the Winsor Newton Cotman, and those are the White Knights. You can see it's a bit more pigmented. So it's nice, I think, to have some consistency in the paper so that you just can compare quickly. And because it's tubes, I will be using this palette that I've been using for gouache so far, but I can mix in here. I think it will be okay for the new colors, and I have enough wells available. So let's see. It's my first time using watercolor straight from the tube. So I just put some here, and I'm gonna swatch. I have my brush just a little bit damp, and I'm gonna see first how it looks straight from out of the tube. It's a gorgeous color. And then if I water it down, and I think whenever you get some new watercolor or whatever, it's always nice to have just some fun with it when you start. I'm not doing a full gradient here, it's just to have an idea of how it looks like when it's diluted down. To just have fun with it and see how it reacts, and how it reacts when you're doing wet into wet, when you're doing, when you try to be a little bit more defined, how it reacts when you go quite heavily, when you do several layers, when you mix them, when you blend it, you know, just to play with it and see how it works. And I think it's always interesting to do that. So let's do now the other yellow. This one is very full, so what I'm gonna do, as you can see, it's already like I've put some down, it continues to come down some more. So what I'm gonna do is actually already put some in here. it is my first time filling up watercolor wells. I'm not sure I'm doing it the right way. So I'm just gonna give it a good stir because it has a very strange texture for now. So now let's go for the reds. Always love reds. This is the earthy red. This is transparent sienna. Same, I don't know why these transparent things are always running out. I'm trying to do this properly, but it's way harder than it looks. I always have this kind of, maybe it's a little bit stupid, but idea that you should never waste some paint. So when I have paint on my palette, I always try to use all of the paint. When I have paint out of the tube, I want to use all the paint that's out of the tube. I also try to vary a little bit the pigments I have from one watercolor to another. So not always have the same pigments over and over again. But I find that PR101 is just a staple. No matter what you do, you will always have it somehow. Or maybe it's just because I really like it, so always come back to it. And I was thinking also, I took some bigger tubes because you also have smaller tubes where you can only fill 1/2 pound and 1 full pound, I don't remember. But I took bigger ones so that I can also put them in this box here. So what I did for this one, actually, these are full pans, and I put some magnet tape underneath, so it just makes this little palette. It's very convenient. And I was thinking I could just, put some of those away in the box and put some of the one I want here and just switch and have my very personal palette inside that. So maybe we'll do that too. I just want to experiment a little bit with them first to know how they interact within one another, how they interact with the others and everything. This video is going all over the place. So like here, as I told you, here is more of my cold yellow. I mean, I could have chosen more of a lemon yellow, and lemon yellow is I don't know, I don't like lemon yellow that much, so I decided to go for something else. This is more my earthy, warm yellow, the ochre, and I just love ochre. I think it's such a nice color. This one here would be more of my warm red, and I don't know how warm it is. I'm really having trouble with the warm and cold stuff, but let's say it's more of an earthy red, and this one is more like the very primary carmine or primary magenta, whatever, with this very nice pink undertone. And you can get it very rich or very diluted here in the pink side. I think it's a very interesting color. I wasn't so sure with my choice of yellows. Yellows, I find really difficult because it's really convenient to mix a lot of things, but I don't get all the subtlety of yellows yet. So I choose kind of as the safe side of having a yellow and then having more of an earthy yellow. And transparent sienna, I know it's not a red, I could have gone for cadmium red, for instance, which is this kind of more, where it is here, more orangey, reddish red. Or here you can see it even better, you see. Here you have the red ochre, which is not exactly the sienna, but it's very similar. Here you have the cadmium red, which is more like the staple red, and here you have carmine, which is more of a magenta pink. But I didn't want to go for the red. I feel like I don't use them so much, and I really like the earthy tones because you can mute down so many colors with earthy tones. So I wanted to go for that, and this one is for having very clean mixes and very bright colors. So that's how I chose a little bit my colors. But of course your palette depends a lot on what you want to paint with them, how you paint, how you mix your colors and everything. And I'm still very new to that, so it's a little bit of learning. And I know these colors I would use. I don't know if they will be my go-to for plein air all the time, or if at some point I will change and I will use some others. This I don't know for sure right now. But I know for sure that I will use them like in... And anyway, even if it's a color I don't like as much as I want it to, I can do monochromatic studies with them. I can just do some fun color challenges with them. So I'm sure I will use them all. It just starts building my collection, and then as time goes I can adjust. Maybe I will switch the pure yellow for a lemon yellow in the end, or maybe I will just give up on the transparent ochre because it's not so interesting. You know, I will do the adjustments and see where it leads me. So here are my new Schmincke Horodam Aquarell, and they're not too expensive here I'm living in Austria. Those and the Winsor Newton are not so expensive. The Daniel Smith in comparison are very expensive. So it's also a matter of what offers you have where you live, and which one are the expensive one and the non-expensive one too. I'm making such a mess, look at this. All the colors that are everywhere. Oh, it's because my paper is stained and I keep putting my fingers on the paper and then putting stains everywhere. Okay, so here it is for my mess today. I'm gonna set this aside for this to just cure and dry. So I'm going to close them and leave them to dry close, because I think they will dry a little bit slower and maybe they won't crack, or I don't know. And I think I'm also gonna swatch these three. So here are all my new colors, those and those. You can't see this. These are all of my new colors here that you can see. And I think I'm gonna play just a little bit with the colors and maybe record a bit of that to be able to show you. And I'll probably do a voiceover of some sort on top of that. Hi everyone, a voiceover Joanna here. So first I wanted to come back to the swatches I've done. So as you may have seen, I was looking for some stuff on my phone because not all the information were on the tubes for the Winsor Newton, so I had to go on their website to get some more information about the light fastness and those type of stuff. And yeah, in each of my swatches I put the name, like the brand, of course, the name, the number of the color, so that I can find it back easily if I want to buy some more of the tubes. I also put the pigments, and I put some information about the granulation, light fastness, opacity, and if it's staining or not. So that's the basic information I put. So now back to what I'm doing here. I'm just basically messing around with the colors and playing a little bit to see the mixing I can achieve with these new colors, to see how they flow, how they react if I put it wet on wet, how they react if I put one on top of the other, how they react when I'm mixing them wet on wet, or mixing them on the palette, or mixing them by layering them, or trying to blend them. So, you know, just trying some fun things. And in the next couple of weeks I will be using them some more for landscapes, portraits, plein air, and just trying to learn as much as possible about them and about how they mix and about how they react, and if I like working with them or not. And of course I will try to keep you posted about my thoughts about this palette, so maybe do kind of a follow-up in a few months to show you some of the stuff, some of the things I would have been doing with these new colors, and see how well I've been enjoying them. So keep posted for that. So here I've just been messing around a bit with my colors. So those are all the new colors that I've just received. This is some of the colors I could achieve with all of these colors. As you can see, you can get some really nice greens. The two yellows are actually quite different, so it's nice. The colors flow differently depending on the colors, so I also did some kind of flow test, put some water and put a drop of color here, see how it reacts and how it flows, and how it goes out and everything. I really like the colors. I think you can get some really nice mixes with all of them. the front colors that I took, also the cobalt turquoise light and the potter's pink and the neutral tints, I think they would be really funny additions to my usual colors, and they create some really funny mixes. So I'm looking forward to exploring these more. For my plein air, I will be using more and more of this, I think, especially when I go for just a short walk or when I want to pack very light. I will of course still be using my metal tin palettes, but maybe I will also switch some of those that I don't use so much and put some of my new colors instead, and I will just store those away for the time being. So yeah, that's my plan. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the process from those here to this here. It's my first time creating my own palette and not just buying a full palette. It was quite overwhelming because you have so many colors, so many brands out there. So I just went for the brands that are affordable and professional quality nearby that I could grab at my local art store, and that have some of these dot cards because it's super convenient to be able to swatch them all. And then I found my criteria that worked for me, like the transparency, the light fastness, the single pigmentedness, and yeah, I just went for it. And I'm really happy with the choices I've made, and I can't wait to explore those more. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!